abductions. I consider what happened in 2020 up to 2023 a big show. I consider it one of the biggest. In fact, I consider it the biggest. I figure it's basically 9/11 4.0. People were mass, okay? Grandmas and grandpas.
Oh yeah.
People were mass, okay? People were mass. It's evidence that what you've seen has been staged. It's not conclusive, but it's evidence.
They destroyed the black community, along with a couple of things like the whole funneling cocaine into the hood to fund the Iran-Contra wars, like all kinds of crazy.
As soon as your emotions are played, they're getting you to disconnect your critical thinking. Go back through history and pick out data. Hard, cold facts. Don't be played by your emotions. Names, places, and dates.
You think you sprinted for 5 years and got to the finish line and figured it all out? Like, no! You need to be wrong a lot more. The reason that Epstein even became as much of a meme as he did is because of whatever the hell psychological operation QAnon is.
They own all the money. They own all the tech. They own all the governments. What do they want to do? They want to make themselves invisible, and they want to get you focused on the wrong thing.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. There's some Nephilim.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us fight and be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds and wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days.
Everybody is slaves, only some are aware that the government releasing poison in the air.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the father of disinformation. Before we get into today's guest, a little reminder for all of our live viewers. This is a 30-minute preview only. Sometime around the 30-minute mark, we're going live exclusively to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad, where you can continue engaging in the live chat, enjoying an ad-free viewing experience, and gaining early access to the episode before the general public. There's a lot of backlogged episodes, especially our last three were absolute bangers. It was Reality Czars, Drew Tang, and who else did we talk to, Top? There was one more in there, and it was a killer.
Thomas?
Was it? No, it was.
We
talked to Reality Czars.
Andrew Meyer.
Andrew Myers. That was a great episode. So guys, go and check out patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Also, don't forget to go to Bro Grove. Get your tickets to Bohemian Grove. It's 3 days away, guys. 3 days away. Unbelievable. I can't wait to see everybody. For the latecomers, they're still up. Go and get your tickets and come and hang. See performances from Owen Benjamin, Sam Tripoli, Nephilim Death Squad, Elijah Schaefer, Shane Cashman, who doesn't have a real ID and now has to drive very far. Very far. He's probably driving right now. And something that resembles Tower Gang. Also, Jake Shields is going to be there. It's going to be a good time, guys. Brogrove.com. All right. Joining us today, once again, we're welcoming back Johnny Sirucci. But before we get into the discussion, we're going to talk about a lot of things. World War III, apparently, the Jesuits, Knights of Malta, things of that nature. Before we get into that conversation, Johnny, where can everybody find your work?
David Lee Top, it is absolutely a thrill to be back with you guys. I'm so honestly, I get wound up, I get wrapped up before any interview, and I want to do well on a show like yours. And you just totally put me at ease. Being able to talk to David before the show and just chat was just awesome. I really feel like I resonate with you guys. I have such love for you guys. Listen, JohnnySirucci.com, JohnnySirucci, JohnnySirucci.com is the website. I've been banned, deleted, and exorcised like a demon away from YouTube long ago. They don't even let me get into comments too much. So I'm now getting nasty grams for writing comments. My video game clips are getting pulled down off of my YouTube. Unbelievable. So I have accounts on Rumble, Odyssey, BitChute, Brighteon, and UgTube. It's either under Johnny Sirucci or Resistance Rising. And that's been the majority of my work so far. I'm trying to start work on a sixth book. You can get them all on CIA Amazon, aka Leviathan, aka Amazon, Illuminati Mass, Secret History, eaters of children, Romans of mass destruction, and disciples of Ra on the scamdemic. So those are
Great
basically
books.
the
Great
big
names,
stuff.
too, Johnny.
The website looks great too.
Thank you.
Are you
It's
designing your own
overdue
website, Johnny?
Say again.
I said, are you designing your own website? Because it is a really
Well,
great
I had help with it long ago. It's WordPress based, and it's constantly going down because WordPress demands these updates. And if you don't update according to WordPress, it just takes the whole thing down. And I need help to redesign it. Yeah, I had a good guy, a really, really good guy, graphics guy, help me with my books, who volunteered to take care of that. And just
awesome.
one day he had enough. He was like, okay, I'm retiring. Don't go. All the plants are going to die. What am I going to do? How am I going to keep everything going? Oh, I got to go. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So somebody like that, it's kind of funny, but it's not. I was cultivating, and he's a good guy. We had a personal relationship, but not like really tight. So I was trying to cultivate that. I have nothing else. I have no money. So I was trying to cultivate that personal relationship and get some FaceTime with him. Literally, the FaceTime. He's living in Italy. He's an American expatriate living in Italy, and I'm an Italian living in America. So God has a sense of humor, right? So, and I'm saying, oh, dude, let's talk. Come on, let's talk. He's like, no, dude, I'm not in it for friendship. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you brought this up. I'm out. I'm retiring. Okay. I'm like, holy. I was like, George, I will love you and squeeze you and hug you, and it's not too much. I held him too tight. I held him too tight. He ran away.
When a man draws that line, I respect that kind of a boundary. Top says that to me all the time. I said, do you want to hang out? Do you want to be friends? He goes, no, we're not friends. We're business partners. Don't come over my house anymore. I still keep doing it, but I respect it. I respect where he's coming from.
Hey, give me a big hug, dude. Don't get so close to me, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Don't touch me. Please don't touch me. Johnny,
Oh,
I'm actually, we set out to talk about a lot of things. You know, we were in the DMs, and I said, you want to come on and you want to talk about the Jesuits and Knights of Malta? And we definitely have to get to that. In fact, I got to write it down so we remember. But you know, we're on the cusp of what seems. I know we're always on the cusp of what seems like World War III,
right?
But it kind of really seems like it. Last night, I'm sitting on the porch, I'm having a cigar, and I'm having a little what would you call it? A single malt scotch. Every once in a while, I like to treat myself. I have a little single malt scotch. I have a little cigar, and I'm sitting on the porch, and I'm looking at X. I'm looking at the feed, and I'm wondering, man, am I watching the real development of World War III? Is it really? Because it really kind of seems like it's here. They're launching missiles, and last night Donald Trump is calling for everybody to the what's the name of the room? The Situation Room, right? He's telling the people of Tehran to escape effectively, and that's causing an exodus of like 10 million people in Tehran. If you look at the videos, it's harrowing because there's just one highway that is bumper to bumper traffic, and you imagine everybody that's sitting in there is in so much fear. You know, there's videos of people in Israel going into their bunkers, and it really seems like we might be there. And I'm just saying that because we say it all the time, not us necessarily, but everybody is like, oh, World War III's here. It's kind of the most fun alarm to sound. It seems like it's happening all the time. You are ex-military, and so I thought that it would be important to get your take on what are we seeing here, and are we really that close? Because Johnny, I've been seeing these videos. It could be fear porn, and I'm not into that sort of thing. I don't think, you know, we were having a discussion about fear versus faith before the show starts. This isn't a fear thing. I'm just, you know, talking about the facts, what I'm seeing. But there is videos on TikTok, of all of these servicemen getting these fancy dinners, right? It's like T-bone steaks and baked potatoes and all this stuff, and I don't know what's real. It could easily be the algorithm rehashing old videos that are just like people's birthdays or something like that, and then injecting it in because it knows that there's virality there. It could well be the case, but I want to get your take on it, Johnny. What are we looking at, and do you think we're... Go ahead, Tom.
There's also a thing going on where I don't know, everybody likes to joke around about Israel controlling the media. I'm not really joking about it, but we have like conflicting reports. So the White House is saying like, we're definitely not going to war. But Israel is saying, you know, America said that we're going to war, and people are reporting that. So there's a lot of misinformation out there as well. So
yeah, the fog of war.
Yeah. Where you land on it?
So here's what I found from the beginning. As soon as we'll back up from Gaza to Russia, Ukraine. And I was absolutely convinced. I've seen this pattern again and again. I'm going to try to watch my terms, so even what little show we're showing is not going to get you yanked off of YouTube. I consider what happened in 2020 up to 2023 a big show. I consider it one of the biggest. In fact, I consider it the biggest. I figure it's basically 9/11 4.0. And the pattern that I found, guys, in relation to false flags is they'll hit a big one, and then as an exit strategy, they'll do a follow-up, a little one, as a distraction. For 9/11, it was anthrax letters. Okay, 9/11, 9/11, and then anthrax letters, and then that was their fear distraction as an exit strategy. As soon as I saw reports coming in on the Russian incursion into Ukraine, I immediately thought, okay, this is a pandemic exit strategy. This is a distraction of fear so that people don't realize how horribly they were taken. And guys, people were mass. Okay, grandmas and grandpas.
Oh yeah,
people were mass. Okay, people were mass. In relation to what really happened, people's family businesses were taken from them. Okay, so that Amazon and Walmart and the CIA could make billions more. Wasn't enough for them. It was their last big bacchanalia to make billions more. Amazon was already a monstrosity, but now much more so with all these small businesses. So that was my suspicion before I had any evidence. Then as I go and I look at footage coming out of Russia, Ukraine, I'm like, what am I seeing? Now, I don't doubt for a minute that people are dying. I don't doubt for a minute that this conflict has been used as a smokescreen for crime, for more trafficking, for more murder. You got somebody that you want to whack, dump him in a war zone and have the war kill him, So, and I've seen somewhat possibly convincing footage of like a drone dropping a bomb on some poor guy curled up. Yeah, it's disturbing. But I've also seen a lot of baloney Wag the Dog footage. And got to watch Wag the Dog, the movie. Got to watch that. In particular, I saw a Russian ground support aircraft, Su-25 Frogfoot, going in for a rocket suppression run. And what is it? Russia Today was showing this. All right, here's this Su-25 going on for ground suppression. And he's coming again, and he lifts up the nose and shoots the rockets. And I'm like, what the F was that? Okay, very simple concept. Plane carry rockets. Rockets must hit the ground to have an effect. Okay, and I've got it. I saved it. I downloaded it. I could play it for you. So clearly, I'm thinking there's a lot of smoke going on with these conflicts. And my impression, without having been there, but just my impression based on my experience, there's a lot of the similar stuff going on in Gaza. I absolutely believe that what lit the fuse was real, a real. I mean, just intuitively, I absolutely agree with all the criticisms out there. Listen, the IDF had sensors all up and down. They could have a cat would fart along this line, and Israeli F-16s would napalm the entire area, right? Okay, but all of a sudden on October 7th, everybody was looking away, and I honestly believe real Israelis were raped, killed, all that. What was the groundwork before that? The groundwork before then was a massive machine way above Jews versus Palestinians, a massive corrupt machine, satanic machine that keeps the poor Palestinians beat down in their prisons, beat down in their camps. All you got to do is take a quick look at Yasser Arafat. Thoroughly corrupt, thoroughly controlled, like little boys, like to have little boys, a machine puppet. He would take in massive donations for the people in these camps and just pocket it. Because the goal of the machine was to keep these people miserable. Keep them miserable, beat them down, and then you open up the doors on October 7th and they go crazy, exactly as you designed it. October 7th. What is October 7th? October 7th is the commemoration of the victory of the Templars over the Ottomans at Lepanto. Okay, so why would Hamas initiate its fest to commemorate Crusader victories over Muslims. And later that was actually changed to the Feast of Our Lady of Victory, another feast for the Virgin Mary. That's crazy. Why would a Muslim terrorists commemorate a Catholic victory by starting their fest on it? Hey, that's not the only date, okay? October 7th, back up even further, October 7th, 2001, is when the United States initiated the entire global war on terror. October 7th, Operation Enduring Freedom, launching into Afghanistan. Why would secular separation of church and state, Romerica, honor the victory of the Crusaders over the Ottomans at Lepanto by initiating, as far as I know, the global war on terror is still going, because we want to milk that for every bit of money we can make off of war, trafficking drugs, trafficking children, trafficking women. So my overall, so finally we'll get to the answer point, David. Hey, we're there. All right, how much time? We're asking Cirucci a question. He's going to go. Okay, so
we're crushing. We're killing it. Keep going.
The bottom line is, yes, there is mayhem. Yes, there is destruction, but much more than that, there's a lot of fluff. There's a lot of BS. There's a lot of wag the dog. And there's a lot of fear porn, a lot of fear mongering. I did not realize just how much of an agenda stoking the flames of fear really are until I interviewed Max Lowen. Max Lowen, granted, says a lot of crazy things, but she is a believable victim of institutional pedophilia, not the least of which is that she said she's been in the Vatican catacombs and watched these demons open a baby and drink the baby's alive. Okay. I did not realize just how much they rely on fear. Let me put it this way. I knew that, but I didn't realize peripheral things. You would think, such as, comes to mind, Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash and death with his daughter, Gina. You would think, thank you. You would think that something like that is just kind of peripheral. Okay. It's not really considered a heart. It is. It really is. It really is. Especially in the inner city. You see these big murals being put up over Kobe Bryant. Yeah. I personally believe that he's probably sipping Mai Tais with Epstein somewhere.
That's
really
interesting, Johnny, because I saw something very recently where somebody was claiming that a lot of these people, that everybody's aware of like the idea that Tupac faked his death and that he got it from this book on like Prince Machiavelli, and in it he theorizes how advantageous it would be to fake your own death and then return when your enemies have effectively destroyed themselves. And you know, so you start going down the line, people have that suspicion about everybody. They have it about Elvis, they have it about Tupac, they have it about Michael Jackson, they have it about an endless amount of people throughout history, especially those in pop culture. I think I'm open to the idea that that's much more of a reality than people would care to believe.
I love the way you just put that, like a real journalist. What we say is, I suspect that we're being lied to here. I suspect that we're being lied to. Here is evidence towards that end so that you don't make a definitive statement about something you can't prove.
Right. Kobe
was retired. Kobe was not making huge amounts of money for other people. And by the way, as a quick aside, what do Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan, 3 superstars in basketball, what do they all have in common?
Black.
And they're all 3 were Catholic. Are Catholic.
Oh,
all 3 of them. All 3 of them. And you get into the crazy numbers of LeBron breaking Kobe's record in Kobe's hometown, Philadelphia, and all that. You're like, okay, come on. That's scripted. Please tell me that's scripted.
That commercial, right? I don't know what commercial it was, but it's like Kobe is in a helicopter and the helicopter crashes and it lands on a basketball court and there's like a whole thing. So it's like this, you know, whatever you want to call it, predictive programming, revelation of the method, whatever it does, it absolves them. It makes you culpable in the entire thing. I don't know necessarily what the truth of that is, but happens very often where there's something that precedes the event and hindsight only tells you that it was significant because, you know, without the context, you don't know in the moment.
It's evidence. It's evidence that what you've seen has been staged. It's not conclusive, but it's evidence. One that a lot of good people have put a lot of effort into, a lot of research into, throwing the patented BS flag at the death of Jim Morrison. Right? Jim Morrison. So in that pattern, in that formula, as a guy that's plateaued, a guy that was fabricated, just ask Dave McGowan, what's his book, Laurel Canyon, absolute fantastic work that he did on the military intelligence complex creating drugs and rock and roll. And I always got to pause and go to oh my goodness, what is the LSD, the Berkeley LSD?
Oh, of course, yeah, because they engineered not only that movement, they hijacked the anti-war movement, they created the psychedelics movement. They
talking about the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, I think so. And then they did the same thing with NWA, where they co-opted black music, they destroyed the black community, along with a couple of things like the whole funneling cocaine into the hood to fund the Iran-Contra wars, like all kinds of crazy. They've been generating culture for as long as I can tell, that we've been subjected to it here in America.
There's so much. Not only was George Morrison an admiral, George Morrison controlled the destroyer flotilla for the Tonkin Gulf that kickstarted the Vietnam War. Okay, not just any military guy. He was the guy in charge of that kickstarted the Vietnam War, Tonkin Gulf. Okay, not a coincidence. Not a coincidence. I was thinking of Timothy Francis. Oh, how the Catholics do love to name their little boys the androgynous name of Francis to commemorate the co-founder of the Jesuits, Francis Xavier, born on April 7th, just by coincidence, mind you, is the birthday of the World Health Organization. Okay, just a coincidence. All right. Timothy Francis Leary. Tune in, turn on, and drop out. The godfather of drugs and rock and roll, Jesuit trained at Holy Cross, devout Roman Catholic, and proven to be on the CIA payroll. Now pause, step back, ask yourself, how is it that the CIA is directly involved in efforts to destroy culture and destabilize the entire country that supposedly it serves? How is it that it'll come to me that they have money, I gotta think of the woman that was on the CIA payroll, the feminist. There was a feminist that was proven to be, I'll see if I can pull it up. Feminist paid by, no, not third page, stop. Feminist paid by CIA. All right, why do I have no internet? Gloria. I want to say Gloria Steinem.
Yep. Yeah. Steinem. Stein.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. What? Why is the CIA? They were involved in race wars. They were involved in. Just ask Gary Webb. Poor Gary Webb, who fell on knife 14 times and shot himself in the face twice. How many people commit suicide by shooting himself in the face twice? Right? It's funny really to them. Right? Gary Webb broke the story of how the CIA was dumping drugs in American city streets. The CIA has done things that America's worst enemies can only dream of.
Oh, yeah.
How is that possible? Why would they be doing that? They don't work for you. They were founded by the Roman Catholic Church and they're run. So why are you saying that, Johnny? Who founded the OSS? Who founded Bill Donovan? Now, there's a legend around Bill Donovan. Oh, he was just crazy, wild Bill Donovan. Yeah, okay, mild Bill Donovan. Okay, he was a DuPont Wall Street war profiteer lawyer. Okay, there's no such thing as a lawyer badass. Okay, that's an oxymoron. Those two don't get together. The Godfather, a Knight of Malta, and in fact, also I think the Order of St. Gregory, who was given these accolades in 1944 by Pius XII, Eugenio Pacelli, who was also a Freemason, before the war was even over. Okay, so immediately Americans should be asking, wait a minute. Who's his loyalty to? Is his loyalty to the Vatican or to America? Oh, they were all fighting the same enemy. No, the Vatican is fighting. The Vatican is fighting freedom. The Vatican. Okay, so knights. What are knights? Knights of Malta.
Yeah, please. I was going to ask you that because I am somebody who is peripherally aware of the Jesuits and the Knights of Malta, and they come up constantly, but nobody really goes into depth. And right now, we're caught up in the Jews, and it's like there's so much more there's nuance here. There's higher levels of power that just don't have their names reaching like the popularity in the zeitgeist, right, in the cultural conversation. So, what are the Knights of Malta?
Brilliant. A virtual kiss on your forehead, no homo. It's such a critical thing that you just
What
pointed
part of the
out.
forehead? I mean,
Just off to the right side, just the clean part right there. It's all. Look, it's beautiful. It's all of it right there. I'm Italian. I can't help it. I can't help it.
Thank you, John.
So listen. What you just said should be intuitive to every truth seeker. All right. If you really control it all, you've got all the money, you've got all the tech, you've got all the governments, you've got all the military. Okay, Johnny, that's crazy. How do the governments react to all of them in lockstep? One or two, like Roman Catholic John Magufuli in Tanzania, said, okay, let me test some motor oil. Let me test this tire. Oh, they all have. How about that? Poor John Magufuli fell on a knife 14 times.
Whoops.
Got kidnapped and killed by.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. He was killed by. What was it? AK-47 was the AK-47. So everybody falls into place. How is it that they all fall into line, all fall into place? If the first thing you would want to do, if you control it all, is make yourself disappear. Mm-hmm. The first thing you'd want to do is make yourself disappear. Now, isn't it kind of silly to think that anybody can use the internet? They can go on to Google, which, by the way, has the birthday of the Jesuits, September 27th. That's just a coincidence. It's the Jews, Johnny. It's the Jews. It's just a coincidence. You can go on Google and find out it's the Rothschilds and the Jews and Soros. And by the way, what put George Soros on the map? What put George Soros on the map is being adopted by a Roman Catholic Hungarian uncle and going around and collecting property from arrested Jews for the Nazis and for the Gestapo. And he told 60 Minutes, I can pull it up for you, greatest time of my life. This is the ultimate bad guy, right? The ultimate bad guy confiscated property from arrested Jews during World War II for the Nazis and said it was told 60 Minutes, the greatest time of my life. And the host, I forget his name, Mike something or other, said, don't you have any regrets, any guilt? Nah, somebody else would have had to do it. Something else I did. I was there. And I was safe because I was Catholic, thanks to my uncle. No one's going to question me. And surprise, 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 this is the guy who got blown up by the machine. Okay. Look at Israel and if let's put aside what Robert Francis Kennedy said about specially genetically designed that don't affect Jews. And okay. Wait a minute. Did he just Robert Francis, Jesuit trained Roman Catholic Kennedy? Just okay, hang on.
Is it Francis? Is it really Robert Francis?
Robert Francis Kennedy, number 2. He is the second one in that line. Okay, Daddy was Robert Francis Kennedy.
Let me say this really quick because I was listening to Ed Mabry and he was talking about Satan and how people attribute things to Satan, the devil, whatever, the adversary. And there's two ways that he operates. It's the one way is that he's not seen, so people think that it's all them. That's the idea of schizophrenia. The other way is that he is seen, and then people say, I spilled my coffee, the devil. And so it's like, all right, so on one side you have the Jesuits, on the other side you've got the Jews. So that there's your dichotomy of what's going on. But continue, please.
You're educated. You're educated, Top. You do this. You're deep in this. How many people out there? How many people on Twitter X would say Jesuits are Jews? People on Twitter X are Jews. It's the Jews. Yeah. It's the Jews. Just go on Twitter. It's all over. It's all over. And God's helped make it happen. God is helping to blow this up.
Yeah. I want to ask you something before we go any further, but we are at the 30-minute mark, and I know we're gonna be cooking for a while, so I want to just get this out of the way. If you're watching the show and you want to continue watching the show, you're gonna have to go over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. This is gonna be a banger. I can feel it already. This is a great conversation. If you want to continue being a part of it, engaging in the live chat, all of that stuff, early access, ad-free viewing experience, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad is for you. Otherwise, we are now cutting the stream to YouTube, X and Rumble, which YouTube, I don't know what the hell we're gonna do. We're gonna have to figure out the censored version. We put censored versions up eventually. And that'll come in the future. But bye, guys. Okay, now Johnny, we're touching on something really fascinating here, and it's this culture that's taking place on Twitter. I've been saying for a while, what happens is you suppress speech about the Jews, right? You call it anti-Semitism and you shut it down completely. And then what happens is that conversation never goes away. It builds resentment, much like a pressure cooker. Then somebody comes along, they crack the valve, and it's allowed to be had. The dialogue is allowed to take place on X now, but because of that pressure cooker effect, it is now blown out of proportion. And then with a little bit of algorithmic magic where you amplify some of the sentiments and things like that, maybe Elon comes along and he touches the ball, he pushes it in this direction or that direction. Now what we have is everybody coming to the same conclusion. They all think that they're expert noticers. And, in my own personal experience, most people are not high-level critical thinkers. They're not self-analytical. They're not looking to themselves about where they're wrong in this and where they've misstepped and where they've fallen for things. And so now that I see so many people that are expert noticers, and I look at what I just talked about, the pressure cooker effect, I go, no, you guys are just falling for a different level of programming here. They've funneled you. You're slightly above, the leftists, the Black Lives Matter, the LGBTQ member or whatever, slightly above them in your critical thinking skills, but still not enough. And they have a program for you. And this is the program that they've given you. Now they're funneling you into this false binary, right? And so you're everybody's an expert noticer. Everybody thinks they figured it out. Everybody's watched Europa. Everybody knows about the Bolsheviks. I watched the damn thing too. I had to stop because I'm like, this is like damage control for Hitler. That's the other thing. Now everybody is a sympathizer and Hitler's based. And in my estimation, this is just another Mockingbird media sort of a situation, except it's taking place on X, right? They're controlling the conversation. They're steering it. They're planting these ideas in your head. You think that they're your own. You feel intellectually superior because you came to some sort of conclusion that is not supposed to be talked about. And that adds another layer of vindication. Once you talk about the thing that you're not supposed to talk about, you go, this is why they don't want you to talk about it, because they're doing everything. But I think you're just falling for another program. Do you think that that's the case, Johnny?
I think you absolutely nailed it. So listen, if you're in control, first thing you want to do is make yourself disappear. The next thing you want to do is get a patsy. Grab somebody on the side and shove them into the spotlight. Is that not intuitive? Is that not intuitive? Grab a patsy, shove them up. And who is a better patsy than the same poor patsy you've been beating out of for centuries, because there's aspects about them and their culture that naturally piss people off. Jews are naturally tribal. Jews tend to, no offense, but from my Christian perspective, Jews think that they have salvation by being tribal. Jews think that they can gain salvation by doling out favors to their brethren. And it's a flaw that I will say, from my Christian perspective, Satan has zeroed in on. And he knows that if you empower, listen, we all do this. I will tell you, Catholics, as I look up famous couples, weddings, and marriages, how many of them, so many of them marry other Jews, very, very tribal. And then I go look at how many Catholics do the same thing, and people don't even realize it. Very, very tribal. You look at like a ball club, like the Chicago Bears, thoroughly Catholic. George Halas, the Godfather, Vince Lombardi, the Roman Catholic godfathers of football, just own. And how many Catholic coaches have been picked for that? Very, very tribal. But people don't see that, all the way up to.
I didn't know that at all.
Oh my goodness. What's this guy on ESPN? The 1980s coach that won the Super Bowl for them. Ditka. Okay. Huge Catholic. What's his name from the Steelers, that won Super Bowls? Catholic, the Steelers, big Catholic club. People don't see this. They don't see it. So, if you want to piss them off, so you got somebody going, I wonder if it's don't say that. Don't say that. And is that not the perfect formula for lighting a bonfire? He told me I couldn't say. It must be the Jews. I mean, such a simple formula. You nailed it. Such a simple formula. Absolutely. I think that is clearly in play to cut. But listen, I've told people again and again, names, places, dates. Don't allow your emotions to be played. As soon as your emotions are played, They're getting you to disconnect your critical thinking. Go back through history and pick out data. Pick out data, hard, cold facts. Don't be played by your emotions, names, places, and dates. Let me back up real quick to something that Top has said. I want to say, in relation to what Pastor Ed said, whether your enemy is invisible or whether your enemy is overly visible, where you over spiritualize and you see him in everything. Now, granted, I have done things where I'm out running and I trip for no reason and fall on my face and then I spit on the ground and I curse Satan. Okay, that's just because I'm Italian. Okay, things I just feel like, okay, dude, F you. But in essence, though,
I just yelled at my camera and I was like, but I know. I mean, maybe, but
be God. I rebuke thee.
Really, honestly, Martin Luther did it too. Martin Luther did it all the time. He would talk to inanimate objects, knowing that there's spiritual warfare going on underneath of that, behind that. From a Christian perspective, again, I apologize for non-Christians. Just bear with me. This is how we see the craziness of our lives, how we see things. Okay, our worst enemy is our own flesh. Our worst enemy is our own flesh. Yeah. Okay. All of his power is kept at bay. The Matrix. You put your hand up and no, and the bullets all stop right in front of your face. Your own flesh. How much you cater to your flesh when you know the battles you can easily win. The battle you can't ever touch. You against this monstrosity. There's Satan. He's like a Godzilla, 400 feet above you. He's about to smash it. And all you do is you say, I'm not going to go on that website. Yeah. Okay, that's a temptation. I'm not going on that website. I'm not going there. I'm not getting wrapped up in this. I'm not talking to that. I'm married. I can't talk to that girl right now. She's flirting. Little battles, and you don't have to win. You just have to try.
Yeah,
you just have to try. You're not going to win them all. You just have to try. And you in your heart, listen to me. You in your heart, you know when you didn't try. Okay. You know, when you were overwhelmed with a desire for something wrong and you're trying and you give in and you fail and you're like, dude, I'm sorry. I tried. Just try. That is the most important thing. So you are your own worst enemy in relation to, and seriously, Dave and I were talking about this before the show started. There's all kinds of scary things. You're losing your house. You're losing all kinds of scary things way out of your ability to control. As a Christian, you have to rely on these little battles that are in your ability to control. You win these little battles and he will win everything else for you. You have to trust in that. And a big part of that is don't lie to yourself. Yeah. Don't lie to yourself. Don't say, come on. It's okay. Here I'm dating myself. It's the swimsuit issue. There's nothing wrong with the swimsuit issue. Okay, I'm dating myself. And now, thanks to the Corona hoax, there's porn just thrown at you. Video games on my phone. I get these anime characters and these boobs and then, are you kidding me? I just want to play a game on my phone. What are you dangling this in front of me for? And if you realize, if you try to fight that, you're already, and that just pisses you off because you already know, all right, I'm trying to, here we are. Hey, go to the Daily Mail. TNA. Are you kidding me with this? You bastards need to be strung up yourself, okay? The people it's by design, okay? It's absolutely by design. So,
but if you can recognize that, you can get better at it, right? So it's like anything, like going to the gym or whatever, practicing anything through repetition. If you recognize what it is and you recognize that it's a constant temptation, you can actually take a lot of joy in smacking that down and getting better at doing that. And then what happens is you become a little bit sharper. You see it in other places where maybe you didn't see it before. You recognize what it is.
It's funny to also, I was talking to my cousin's husband and he was talking about pornography. He's a pastor, but it seemed like that was something that he struggled with. And I was explaining the ideas of Jerry Marzinski, Everybody Drink. And I was like, it's funny when you get that thing, like you were just talking about, go to that website and you see it and you can almost feel the external push.
Yeah.
Like if you understand that, you're like, that's actually not me. I'm here. Right. I know what's going on, but there is an external thing. It's alarming once you're in that, because now you're like, wow, that's actually spiritual warfare and it's just happening casually throughout the day. as you scroll for no reason most of the time. You know, it's like, geez, dude.
Well, you can do a thing I learned. So Instagram is actually really bad with it, where if I don't use Instagram for long periods of time, and then if you go through your For You section,
It's horrible.
it doesn't know like what I want anymore. So it'll show me some like UFC stuff or whatever. It'll show me some, trendy things or whatever. But then it'll, one out of every like 20 will be like some bikini model. But what you can do is you can click on it and you can say, not interested in seeing this. And then it knows, the algorithm goes like, okay, anything that looks like this, we're going to stop showing it. And if you do that enough, you cultivate your own algorithm. I'll do the same thing on X, where like my algorithm is, there's not really anything debaucherous on it, but every once in a while they'll slip in something. They'll try to, at least, it'll be something and some chick with her boobs out or whatever. And I'll just go, not interested in this. And then the algorithm takes that into consideration, and you can, so that's just for the audience sake. If you it's one thing to be able to stand up against the temptation. It is exhausting though, to constantly be tempted over and over and over again. Next thing you know, like you're on something and you realize like, oh, it's been 5 seconds. I've been staring at this chick's tits. I got to get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? So you hit that little button and you go, not interested, and the algorithm will kind of bend itself to you and stop doing that. But yeah, man, it is a constant, especially on the internet, worse than it's ever been in history. And I don't know what the hell you would do if you took people from, biblical era and you drop them in modern day. And it's like, for all of your faith and your strength to resist your own sin and resist the temptations of your own flesh, try to deal with what we're dealing with, because good God, is it insane. They'll slip it in everything. You're just trying to watch something, and then all of a sudden there's a scene that you didn't account for. I don't know why every movie that you try to watch has to have a scene. It adds no value, in my opinion, to whatever I'm watching. They have to just force it in. They shoehorn this scene, and it's not relevant to the plot. It doesn't do anything for you at all. You could at least insinuate that they had some sort of a romantic relation and just go to the next scene. But instead they have to they got to bathe you in the waters of awkwardness. You're sitting there with your spouse or whoever you're sitting there with, and this is just happening on the screen, and you're like looking at your watch like, how long is this gonna get dragged out? And they're just, so it's very frustrating. It's everywhere. It's really everywhere.
It's bait. And here's what I have found is that if you simply put a little bit of effort into it, then you're able to see how blatant it is. Okay. Come on. You want this? Come on. Dude. Okay. I'm just trying to say, I'm trying to eat a sandwich. I just want a sandwich. I didn't ask for blah and blah. I just want a sandwich. Yep. What are you doing? So you're actually able to see how blatant the baiting is, and it makes it a little easier. It's not just, oh, that's nothing, but it does make it, if you're able to see someone baiting you, if you're able to see something that's trying really hard to catch you, and okay, stop. Okay. Yes. That's appealing. That's attractive. She's hot, but you know what? Stop already. Okay. I wasn't in the mood. I just wasn't I have to go to the bathroom. I don't need that. Okay. So, that's huge. As a quick aside, check out, what would people from yesterday do and today? They themselves, pardon my language. Check out the pornographic murals at Pompeii.
Oh, really?
Okay. Oh yeah. They had, brothels and like walls and walls of pornography in Pompeii, where everything was wiped out by a flash volcano. People are like, flash got in lava. Like, okay. So
I'm looking it up. I had to turn my safe search to blur.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
I see it now.
Oh yeah. Whoa.
Oh, these guys were pervs.
Dude.
Oh my goodness.
Dude.
What?
Right. And that's where they're all zugging like crazy.
Audience.
And all of a sudden the lava hits and they're like,
why'd that happen? I got to tell people, for the audience listening, one of these images, right? There's several images of like, it's clearly a bed and there's clearly people, having sex on the bed. One of them in particular it's a style. There's a chick, she's bent over. There's a guy behind her. There's a guy behind that guy.
Like today. Just like today. Bye.
Wow.
Bye. Go ahead. Bye. Anything goes.
That is insane.
Boom.
I didn't know that.
You ever see when the Jews go to the wall and they kind of like do the humping? I guess they
do the Humpty Hump.
The people in Pompeii were doing the same thing here.
Let's go back. Brilliant that you would say that. Let's go back to the whole issue of Jews versus Jesuits, anti-Semitism. Listen, if you're the machine and you are saying the flames haven't been stoked enough. How would you do it? Would you take your puppets, the guys on your team, and make them do things that appear like they are honoring or kowtowing to Jews? Would you have Pope Francis kiss the ring of a rabbi? Would you have Donald Trump put on a yarmulke and go do the prayers over
How
at the
about
wall?
this, Johnny? Would you push out Rabbi Shmuley and his business with his daughter out into the public eye to be the shining example of debauchery for everybody to cast all of their suspicions on?
Absolutely. Who is, let me see, founder, I think it's Penthouse. First of all, what's his name? Hugh Hefner. What day did Hugh Hefner die?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, look it up real quick, unless you got to tell us. Hold on.
Bob Guccione. Oh, the Jews like Bob Guccione, who was going to be a priest and instead became a pornographer. Jews like Bob Guccione. What day did Hugh Hefner die?
Hold on, I'll tell you right now. Hugh Hefner died on, that's images. Let's go. September 27th.
Oh, that's interesting. That's the day of the No, that's the Jesuit birthday. Go figure. The godfather of porn died on the birthday of the Jesuits. Go figure. Gee.
What do you think? Not dead? Not dead? Sailed off into the sunset?
Anything is possible. Right. Anything is possible. I would say, and really, that's just something I remark on. That what are the circumstances behind that? Could it be that he was offed as a calling card, or could it be divine? Could it be that it was God saying, here's what's really going on behind the scenes, and here's a little calling card for that? I just think it's not a coincidence. What is it? Did he die? Did he not die? Did he out? The bottom line is it is significant, and I draw significance from that date. I can't exactly tell you whether or not Jesuits killed him to honor themselves, or whether or not that was God saying, look at the Jesuits. All I can tell you is it's absolutely 365 and a quarter days in a year, and he dies on the, and by the way, who gave us our calendar? Jews? A Jesuit. Daniel 7:25. The Antichrist will seek to change times and laws. Who wrote the calendar? Everyone around the world. Everyone. Orthodox countries. They use the Jesuit Christopher Clavius calendar, and on the side, they've got their old Orthodox calendar nobody pays attention to. In Israel, they use the Jesuit Christopher Clavius calendar, and off to the side, they've got the calendar nobody pays attention to. Okay? Daniel 7:25, the little horn Antichrist will change times and laws. Boom. Okay. Christians, who wiped out the understanding that the Roman Catholic Church is the Antichrist, that all popes are Antichrist, and the Roman Catholic Church is the fourth and final beast of Daniel, the fourth iron mixed with miry clay of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, Daniel 2. The fourth final beast of Daniel 7, the great whore drunk on the blood of the saints, clothed in scarlet and purple, couldn't be any more obviously the Roman Catholic Church. Who erased that? 98% of Protestant evangelical fundamentalist churches teach futurism, which is a heresy fabricated by Jews. Oh, no, heresy fabricated by Jesuits. Alcazar, Ribera, Lacunza. Jesuits erased themselves from Christians knowing who the Antichrist is.
Johnny, can we rewind to something there that you said? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? So the whore who's drunk on the blood of the saints, who's dressed in, was it purple? And can you
scarlet and purple? The
talk
harlot.
about how that applies?
Oh my goodness! No entity has mass more Christians than the sovereign city-state of Rome. If you combine military Rome from Nero to Innocent III on through, Rome has mass more Christians than any other entity anywhere in human history. Rome, as a sovereign city-state, has done more to destroy, erase, cover up the Bible. What are the Dark Ages? The Dark Ages of 1,000 years, the Roman Catholic Church kept the Bibles on pain of death, only in Latin, and only priests will be allowed access to the Bible. You're a Christian, you need your roadmap, so you know there is no such thing as purgatory. You know you're not supposed to be praying to Mary and saints and angels. You know that the Pope is not the vicarious filii Dei, the 666, if you have this roadmap. So we forbid the roadmap. And if you get found with the roadmap, we will burn the roadmap and you. And you, the Inquisition. Have you heard of Fox's Book of Martyrs? Volumes of evidence of the Catholic Church torturing and murdering Christians.
Johnny,
What?
Do you?
Go ahead,
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
do you
go.
think? So when you read the story of Jesus and he's when he's crucified, it's the Jews calling for it and Rome saying they're washing their hands. Basically, we'll do the thing, but I'm not involved. From your point of view, looking at it this way, historically, you think there was a little bit more involvement there, or maybe the involvement got entangled after?
Well, when you say washing my hands, you're talking about Pontius Pilate. So
Right.
what exactly? And I love that you're going to this. I'm gonna have to sneak a little kiss on you two, Top. No homo. I have told people many, many times. This is why I love you going to this. I've told people many, many times. If you want to know the power structure, it's exactly at the crucifixion. Leadership who wanted to cultivate their corrupt power. What did Christ say? What did Jesus say in the Garden of Gethsemane? You cowards. I'm getting a chill saying this. You cowards. You come to me in the middle of the night because you know I taught in the temple in broad daylight and you never had the guts to come touch me because the Jews would have lynched you. Rank and file Jews love me. They would have lynched you. But you come to me with your thugs, with your hired mercenaries in the middle of the night and yank me off for multiple corrupt trials to get what you wanted. And you still don't have the authority. As a quick aside, Jacob's prophecy to Judah, that was in Genesis 39, read and the scepter will not pass until Shiloh, something to that effect. Brilliant. Do you know that this occurred, that Israel lost her power to govern herself just as a little boy was growing up in Bethlehem? In Nazareth, because they had to leave Bethlehem. As a little boy was growing up in Nazareth, did Israel lose its ability, Judea lose its ability? Brilliant conclusion, fulfillment of Judah's prophecy, of the Jacob's prophecy to Judah, that they no longer had the ability to govern themselves. So the leadership had to beg Rome to kill this rabbi for them. They couldn't do it themselves. They begged Rome to do it. And it was these leaders that said, yeah, kill him. His blood be on us and our children. What a terrible curse. What a terrible curse. But
It's crazy.
I submit this to you. Pontius Pilate, who was warned, Pontius Pilate knew what it meant to have sound judgment. He knew, listen, corrupt governors, corrupt leaders piss off the power structure. Why? Because they eventually cause unrest. And the power structure doesn't give a shit about tyranny. The power structure cares about stability. We're in charge. We're rich. We're living large. We're having orgies every other day. Don't F it up. Don't F it up. Don't pound the people so much and so hard that you cause them to be pissed off. They care about stability. And when stability is in question as to fairness or justice, stability wins. And that's exactly the equation. Pontius Pilate knew, I find, as the rabbis, as the high priest was sanctifying the Passover lamb, the Paschal lamb, that there was free of blemish. Hundreds of years this was in place, right? And he says, I find no fault in this lamb. Pontius Pilate says, I find no fault in this man. The same day in fulfillment of scripture, okay? He was hanging on the Passover. That's why the Jews came. No, take him off the cross. It's a curse for a man to be on a tree over the Sabbath and a Sabbath, okay? All fulfillment, incredible fulfillment of scripture. Nobody else is going to fulfill this, okay? So Pontius Pilate was doing a cop out. He knew justice. He knew righteousness. He knew that the man in front of him shouldn't have even been flogged. He didn't do anything. He was just appeasing the leadership, okay?
Why? They were subservient to him. And the Jews, the people,
they
didn't
could cause an uprising. They could cause an uprising, that stability issue where, listen, where you've got soldiers on the street and somebody stabs them in the back. That's what Barabbas was all about.
You know what that reminds me of, Johnny? It reminds me of
Operation
I think it was
Gladio.
last year or 2 years ago during like Sandy, I don't know what it was. It was some place, some city, and they're having the LGBTQ thing, and the police are standing by, and these dudes are fellatioing each other in the street. And somebody goes up to the cops. I forget who it was. It was somebody like relatively famous in this like journalistic realm on Twitter or X. And they go up to him and they say, "Hey, these guys are over here and they're doing X, Y, and Z. Why don't you go and uphold the law? This is, disgusting. It's illegal that they're doing this in the streets." And basically the idea was like the blowback that it would cause is not worth us enforcing the law because it's going to result in all kinds of havoc and shit like that. It's like they just want to keep things
Status quo.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and the status quo is a guy that at that case, somebody was pissing on somebody else in a child pool in public. But
that's right. That's right.
Let me tell you this story because, and again, this story comes back to Jews because I was in Brooklyn, but I saw an older dude pull up to a young kid who was walking to school or synagogue. It was early in the morning. I was working the night shift and I had just got off. I'm walking my dog and I see the kid across the street. The guy pulls up to him, tries to get him in the car. Kid says no. The guy continues. He rolls up again, says some more stuff. The kid says no. He looks scared. Like a third or fourth time this happens, finally the kid goes into his car. Didn't sit right with me. Took that guy's license plate, called the cops, and I was like, I don't know what I just saw here, but it looks like an abduction. And it didn't look like the kid knew him. And I told him, they're like, what's the description? I said, well, it's a Hasidic kid and a Hasidic man. And here's the license plate. It was a Toyota Camry. And they go, out of our jurisdiction. I was like, this is Avenue Z in Brooklyn. What the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Out of your jurisdiction. And I'm like, there's a kid that just got abducted most likely. And they were just like, yeah, we don't handle that. I'm like, that's insane. But
listen to me. So Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, 2005, the Supreme Court, which is dominated by Jews. Oh no, the Supreme Court's been dominated by Catholics for generations. If you want to rule the world, if you want to rule a democracy, you do it through the judges who are unaccountable to the people. And the Supreme Court dominated by Catholics for decades. What a surprise. Castle Rock versus Gonzalez, 2005. The cops have no responsibility to take care of you or your property. Their responsibility is status quo. Their responsibility is status quo for the elite, for the feudal elite. Let me tell you my own personal story. Years ago, I was in college. I was doing a summer job. I was working for the March of Dimes, helping with some kids. And it was a camp. It was a summer camp. And so it was a sleepy over camp. And there was a beautiful teenage girl who was handicapped and probably too many vaccines. And I'm just saying that, okay? Autism, there's a direct connection, okay? There's a direct connection. She was wheelchair bound. She had sleep apnea. And she woke actually, she didn't wake. The night before, parents dropped her off. The next morning, she was dead. Turns out that she had sleep apnea and her parents forgot her respirator. How do you forget? How do you forget and then forget to tell us and then don't call? Clearly, they the girl. Clearly. You don't forget. You're a little girl. Now, she's a teenager. She was a complete invalid. She needed everything. She was a burden. Right? I went to the sheriff. I said this all to the sheriff. You know what happened? Illuminati zero. Nothing. Nothing. Their job is the status quo. Okay. So I'm not surprised. Gladio, right? Gladio. Okay. False flags. What was the CIA named it after the Roman short sword? And what do? They're murdering innocent people as an attempt to stop the commies. And in elections in Italy, who won? The far left, overwhelmingly. So what did Gladio do? Nothing but the machine's will of fear and death and mayhem. Everywhere the CIA is failing to stop the tides of communism, with the exception of in 54, I would say it's Guatemala, Jacob Arbenz, Nicaragua, because they had an ulterior motive. They needed to unseat someone who was actually doing a good job. They needed to open up the doors for drugs and human trafficking, just like they did in Afghanistan. I still have it up on my show. New York Times, May and March 2001, Taliban agenda against Poppy, a resounding success. 2001, like May 2001. Taliban agenda against Poppy, a resounding success. In fact, I'll send it to you, and I pay for this crap rag, New York Times. Taliban agenda against Poppy, and then 6 months later, oh, the doors are open wide. Raising Arizona, these doors are going to swing wide, okay? And the Poppy comes shooting out again, 300% up, all right? And this is what poor Pat Tillman found out before he got a 3-round burst to the forehead. He thought he was going in to protect American freedom, and he was actually opening the doors of the drug trafficking on behalf of the CIA, founded by a devout Roman Catholic Knight of Malta, Mile Bill Donovan. So, by the way, David Lee, I love that. Cultivate your own algorithm. That's a keeper, brother. Cultivate your own algorithm. Buy your habits. By the way, this is what they fear. This is what they fear. A disciplined man, really any disciplined person, but particularly a disciplined man with self-control that is just trying, that's not going to be easily played. They fear that. This is why movies and video games have erased this everywhere. There are no real man heroes.
Oh yeah,
in video
been
games,
eliminated from children's entertainment in a huge way. It's always the man is often a kind of a bumbling buffoon, and then the actual powerful characters in children's cartoons and movies are either women who are taking masculine roles, or homosexual men of a softer variety, men that are physically incapable and can't do it without the help of typically those strong women. That's something that you see over and over again. And it's not lost on me too that we talk about how this is all consent based, right? You always have a choice, and they're constantly petitioning you. Right. Do you want this? Do you want this? And they're offering it up to you, and you have a choice always. And so even in the algorithm, where the algorithm is, inundating you with whatever kind of horrifying thing that you don't want to see or you don't want to engage in, but it's tempting to some degree, there is always that little 3 dots in the upper right hand corner. You click on them, you go, no thank you, not interested. And so this is all consent based. It's constantly you choosing, I've been saying a lot, it's choosing faith or fear. In some situations it's not fear, but it's still sin. It's a cardinal sin of lust or gluttony or whatever the case may be. It's offering you something. Do you choose sins of the flesh, or do you choose not? You know what I mean? It's that constant battle, but there's always a consent element to these things.
One of my something that incenses me is okay. Just a couple of things, just a handful of things that make me angry. No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm Italian. Everything makes me angry. Of going on, and you see on these websites. Oh, and Twitter's doing this right now. I actually have had to use Brave to keep from engaging in the Twitter pop-up. Hey, did someone say, it's funny, it's cute, somebody say cookies? Hey, we're spying on you, but if you don't like that, you can just leave. So consent is manipulated, coerced.
Yeah.
Coerced consent, I've said this many times on my show, coerced consent is not an excuse to commit a crime. Coerced consent is not validation of a crime. You scum. Just because you get people that just, I need the website. I need to get on the website. All right, just click the box and go on. Okay. Yeah. This coerced consent is not going, if we're judges, my boys right here, we're judges, that is not going to play. Okay. Hey, I got their permission. You put a gun to their head. They needed to go there. And you said, okay, hey, listen, we're going to rob your house. Okay. Can we ask to rob your house? No, but okay. Was that okay? You're not going to get hurt. Well, we're just going to rob you. Okay. Just take whatever you want.
You know what that sounds like, Johnny? Hey, we're not forcing you, but if you want to be able to fly, if you want to be able to go to restaurants, if you want to be able to go back to your job, you're going to have to get this, right? It's the exact same thing.
Right. And I will tell you that deep down, I want you all in the audience to fight that. I know it's hard. I know it seems impossible, but when you have moral authority, don't get shrill. Don't scream. Don't be upset. But when you have moral authority, you would be surprised at the battles you can win, especially if you're a Christian, especially if you're in a good place. If you're in a bad place, you've lost a lot of battles with your flesh, then don't. You're in a bad place. You're in a weak place. But if you're trying, you're feeling good about yourself, you're winning more battles than you're losing, and you have a confrontation with a police officer, and you're like, how can I win? How can I win? I can't win this. Just be firm, be friendly, but don't take any. Okay. There's no magic formula. There's no magic formula. There's you in Christ. There's this, oh, you don't have to pull down the window 2 inches. Okay. No, you want to piss the guy off. What's Chris Rock, right? How to piss off, how to brothers get his ass kicked. All right. It's a funny video if you go back and watch it. Okay. But it's absolutely true. And listen, they're human beings. Okay. They're human beings, but there's a machine pushing them in a direction. And the machine pushing them in the direction is control. Why is it that whenever, like I said, a cat farts and they come out of nowhere with camouflage, body armor, real assault weapons, not like the you can buy the 16-inch semi-auto. No, real assault weapon, camouflage and olive drab. That's not a cop. That's a guy looking like he's ready to take Fallujah. What the hell is that all about? That is training you to accept posse comitatus, a soldier on the street, not a police officer. And by the way, you don't need a police officer. You need help with bullies. That's what the government should be doing. The problem is the government's the bully. So when I go and I listen to a guy like Ukrainian Michael Malice, and he's, you don't need the cops. You just need to get together and spend money and buy your own security. He goes a lot further towards the truth than the machine. He's not all right. But the problem is, what do you need help with? You need help against bullies. The problem is when the government's the bully. That's the problem. Okay.
Let me say, I had met Michael Malice a long time ago. I used to be a libertarian, and I did a shirt. I did a design that was based on one of his books, which I think it's still an interesting read. It's the Anarchist Handbook, and it has all these examples of these people. I gave it to him, and then he asked me if I wanted a picture. And for some reason, I looked at him, and he's like real short. And I was just like, no. And he said, are you sure? Because I was at the time too, I was kind of like a fan of him. And I'm just like, you know what? No, I don't want a picture. And then I find out that he had with like a after, and I was like, thank God I didn't see
wow.
a picture of this
I
guy.
had a suspicion. I had a suspicion, and I don't want to talk about personal issues because on the screen, I like a lot of what he says, with the exception of he's a machine player. He wants you to subscribe to vote him in, vote him out. Donald Trump's a good guy, but Joe Biden's not a good guy.
I'm not even sure if he does. I don't know his intentions, which is why I don't like him, because I don't trust him. He's very sneaky. I appreciate him being this, he's like a machine elf, a jester type, but I don't know what he's after. And I don't like what he does. Like, I don't like the fruit that he bears after like really looking at it. But you have to look. You have to close examine. On the surface, a massive rollback of government and power is desperately needed. It's desperately needed. So, but underneath, what's the agenda? The guy's a superstar. The guy's got to be a millionaire, if not a multimillionaire. And the machine doles out its favor by design. What is he doing to make the machine happy? Jordan Peterson, like 9 million subs, right? What religion is Jordan's wife? Jordan goes out. Jordan refuses to commit to Christianity. Jordan refuses to say Jesus Christ is his Lord and Savior. And yet he's going on, he's doing Bible exposition on streams, and he's got 2 guys on either arm, 2 rabbis. Oh, no, they're priests. There's Bishop Robert Barron on one, and he's got Mike Schmitz, the good-looking priest on, and he's going with priest on. And gee, what is it that is? What is his bias? What is his bent? What is his take? Even Joe Rogan's born and raised Roman Catholic, but now he's like atheist or whatnot. I see ex-Catholic Joe Rogan and soon-to-be Catholic Russell Brand. Right? No. Okay. Oh, he's a evangelical rock and roll Catholic. Okay. Candace Owens, right? Oh, Jew. Hashtag Grace is King. Hashtag. Okay.
that hyper devout convert to her white husband's religion is Catholicism. Catholicism, right? So here we have the clues as to the hidden hand. If you can look past the anger and the emotion of the pendulum, love the Jews, hate the Jews, love the Jews, hate the Jews. Just don't get wrapped up into it. Names, places, and dates. You've got to, and this is why it's important. This is why it's important. It's a war. It's a war, okay? It's a war for your health, literally, your health, literally not being robbed, not being sickened, not being killed, not being tyrannized. You have got to know who to fight. From the military perspective, you've got to know who your enemy is, okay? You can go after peripheral. We need to cut off the head of the hydra that won't grow back. We need to know who is really behind the screen, who's really behind the curtain. Because I promise you, these patsies that are being pushed up are ultimately expendable. They are ultimately expendable. And this is why it's so critical to get this right. You need to know who to win, who to beat in order to win. You can beat Jews. You can beat even Freemasons. You chop off the right arms, you go after the Freemasons. But the machine still lives on. Sauron still lives. Go ahead.
There's something about that the Q drop where that they're saving Israel for last. That there's a lot of cope in Q. There's a lot of bullshit in it. But that part has always been, especially nowadays, where I'm looking at like this, just a nonsensical direction that we're headed in as a country, where it's like, okay, they've been told multiple times not to bomb Iran because it'll cause, just complete global disruption. And obviously why? And they're just going to do it anyway. So I'm like, I'm watching them, and you're watching Trump. Trump said no, but it's kind of soft-handed. He's also saying that, and it's kind of like they're going to, like the Jews are just going to dig their own grave here. But it's not them. It's not them in the end, like you're saying. They're what does Sam call them? Middle management or something like that.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell. It's a problem that we have right now, though. Which is why I still say Jews, because every time I look, I'm like, come on, guy. Like, we just got our theater canceled, and you wouldn't believe it. All Jews. But it's like, I understand where you're.
It's like you have to push this conversation because, like you said, it's been suppressed for so long. We've got some catching up to do, and the dialogue is going to win out what the truth is, as long as people are being honest and they're actually engaging in the dialogue. And so in that spirit, you almost have to catch up. It's like, yeah, let's run it out. Jews. Yeah, we get it. Right? That's honestly what I went through, where it's like, as soon as the dialogue was able to take place, I engaged in it, although it was a lot of comedy. Some of it was truth, but you have to almost exhaust it. Once you get it out of your system, it's like, okay, can we go a little bit further now? Can we talk about what's really going on? And so I think a lot of people, they've reached this stopping point, but it needs to go further. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation here, because the dialogue is dishonest. I've not known a lot of these people in influence were Catholics.
Here's a very, very critical issue in relation to the story that Top just told. Banking, entertainment, journalism. These are management positions that are gifted to Jews to give them the spotlight to piss people off. Making war, running governments, that's saved for Jesuits. That's saved. The real power saved for Jesuits. I've got a folder here of Jesuits, lowercase j, not ordained Jesuits in the CIA. Avril Haines, Deputy Director, CIA, Obama Department, Obama and NSA, Georgetown Law. And even though someone might not be a practicing Catholic, when Jesuits train them, they become Jesuits. Michael Morrell, Acting Director, CIA, St. Joseph High School, Georgetown Masters. Deputy Director Vernon Walters, Stonyhurst, Jesuit Sleepy Over, also a Knight of Malta. CIA Spy Master Jack Devine, a hyper devout Roman Catholic. CIA Director, the very first director of the CIA, General Walter Bedell Beadle Smith, a devout Roman Catholic. James Woolsey, CIA Director, Masters from Counter Reformation St. John's. CIA Director John O'Brennan, the drone executioner, a Roman Catholic trained at Jesuit Fordham, just like Donald Trump. John McCone, CIA Director, Papal Knight, Knight of Malta. Director Michael Hayden, Roman Catholic, 16 years of Jesuit education. Director William Casey, both Casey and Colby were called the warrior priest. Casey went to Fordham, Catholic University, St. John's Law. Colby, the warrior priest, ran, let's see here, Saigon Station Chief, Operation Phoenix. Leon Panetta, CIA Director, Roman Catholic, Congressman, Director of Secretary of War, Secretary of Defense, and CIA Director, and California Congressman, and he's got a son in politics. Leon Panetta, he's a Roman Catholic trained by the Jesuits at Santa Clara. Robert Gates, trained at Georgetown. William Burns, LaSalle. Michael Hayden, 16 years of Jesuit education. On and on and on and on. The real power, the CIA, Catholics in Action, the real power. Go
To
ahead.
that point, Johnny. Okay, so I know a lot of people they're gonna listen to this because everybody's hot for the Jews right now.
Well,
And
real
you
quick,
have to
so-
ask yourself a question.
Dave, they're saying do an early life check on these guys. And if you did, you might find that their mother's, but then you might also find that their mother converted to Judaism or her mother converted to Judaism. There is something to be said about like all these Jews that we see. I don't even know how they are Jews necessarily through the bloodline because it's a very slippery term. But if you're adhering to a certain religion and claiming it, then that's something different. Like most of these Jews that are doing crazy, some of them are rabbis, sure. Most of them are atheists. They'll tell you themselves like they hate God. But then it's like, are you even a Jew? Like, what are you? I don't know your true ethnicity.
Home run, qui bono, language of Rome. When people throw at me silly things that you can't verify, crypto. How do I verify that? How do I trust? Give me the genealogical records that I can trust. What is crypto? Look at his nose. Look how big his nose is. He's crypto.
Mine was. It's all broken.
Right. Mine. Well, it's an Italian nose, but okay. Okay, so listen. Here is critical. How do they benefit? Qui bono, how do they benefit? When people say, Loyola's a crypto, the guy that revolutionized the special forces for the Catholic Church, how did he help Jews? And how did he help the Catholic Church? He didn't help the Jews at all. And yet he revolutionized insurgency on behalf. He gave the Catholic Church superpowers. Okay. So when people say, Top, you just absolutely nailed it. There are so many people that you can claim or associate. I've got guys in, okay, so let's take an example of in alternative health. You've got guys like Andrew Kaufman and Tom Cowan, guys who are ethnically, but they're not practicing. They're not dedicated to Judaism. They're not religious Jews. They're in fact religious New Agers. But you've got guys like Miles Mathis out there throwing out terrain theory because guys like Andy Kaufman and Tom Cowan are making brilliant sense. And they're ethnic Jews. It's a Zionist plot. See that terrain theory is a plot. It really is. Viruses. Don't doubt viruses. Don't doubt vaccines. You've got Jews promoting terrain theory. Wait a minute. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to. First of all, how is it that you're putting out PDFs as articles? What is that a thing? It's not even a thing. Are you a Jesuit? Are you in the CIA and a coup? I don't even know who Miles Mathis is. But brilliant point, Top. Qui bono? Who benefits? Why are you even calling this person? So I went on and did a debate with Adam Green, and I call him Adam Greenberg, and he was like, "Well, that Christianity is a plot, right? They fabricated." I was flabbergasted. In my estimation, I lost the debate because he pressed my buttons with just insane idiocy. Wait a minute. Show me documents. Show me Rabbi such and such sent this secret document to Rabbi such and such. Okay, let's spin this. Let's create this religion, and we'll do it out of Judaism, and we'll control the Goyim. We'll control the. He had nothing. He had nothing. He had no.
Well, did Jesus die? And did Jesus die and come back and people saw it and then said we should worship that guy? It's crazy.
Yeah, right.
So you created it. Okay.
In fact, The argument on Christian persecution alone wins court battles. The argument on Christians willing to die because they believe in this savior wins court battles alone. In fact, a very famous lawyer, I got a Simon Greenleaf, I think is his name, became a Christian from an atheist because just of that reference, the number of Christians tortured by the Catholic Church, by all kinds of outside, by Muslims and Catholics. And he became a Christian simply based on the power of the testimony. These guys, are you kidding me? You're willing to go, you're willing to be burned alive, you're willing to have your arms ripped out of their sockets, you're willing to be thrown to lions because of this Jesus guy? Okay, come on. You don't really believe in him, do you? That argument alone, don't even get into fulfilled prophecy, the idea that Jesus of Nazareth fulfilled over 333 prophecies. Well, how do you know? Come on, that the Bible was fabricated by Freemasons in a room somewhere. Well, no. There's something called the Septuagint. The Septuagint validates that the Old Testament was in hand roughly around 300 BC. Why? Because of a guy called Alexander of Macedon, aka Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great Hellenized, made Greek the known world, so that by 300 BC, not BC, before, shut up, screw you. So that by 300 BC, everyone spoke Greek, and the Hebrews didn't speak Hebrew, and they couldn't even read their own scriptures, and so they needed their scriptures translated, and they put together 70 scholars, and it is an historical fact acknowledged by atheists around the world that the Old Testament was in hand 300 years before Jesus Christ. So, pierced through for transgressions. They divide up my clothing. Psalm 22, the very first words of Christ on the cross, my God, why have you forsaken me? The last words of Christ, it is done, tetelestai, it is finished. I'm getting to saying this. Prophecy after prophecy, born in Bethlehem, but raised in Nazareth. Like I said, not a bone is broken. That's a you don't even realize it's a prophecy. Do you realize when Yahweh is telling the Jews, the Israelites, do not break a bone of the Paschal Lamb? It's a prophecy of Christ. Just insane. Okay,
it's crazy. It's crazy that they beat him that badly. And it's like, damn, what was this dude made out of?
Right.
Just
beating so badly that they had to pull Simon out of the crowd to pull his own cross for him.
Yeah.
Being so badly. Oh, he just fainted on the cross. He fainted on the cross. Are you kidding, right? You have no idea what you're talking about. No idea what we're talking about.
I just want to say something though, because it's like everybody who I was saying before, everybody who's going to listen to this, and a lot of the people are, Jew centric right now, and this is upsetting to some people. Like, no, you're running cover for the Jews. Do you really think that you figured it all out? That the people that you're allowed to talk about right now are the end of the line? Do you think that the Vatican and Vatican City and the Pope play no role in this whatsoever? It's like there was a time before everybody was an expert noticer where people in the conspiracy community were very willing to look at the Vatican and everything that it was hiding and all of the history surrounding it and the strangeness surrounding the Pope. I mean, there was conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy about the Pope and the Vatican, and all of that has been put to bed, and now everybody just goes, no, we figured it out, it's the Jews. And I'm like, don't you think that it's silly to think that you've got it figured out? Don't you think that it's silly to think that the people that you're allowed to talk about right now really are the end? The people that are so overt in all of their corruption and their control and their influence in American government. Like I said, Rabbi Shmuley is playing a character. If you don't think he's playing a character, he's going out, he looks like a testicle, right? He's got a manufacturing thing with his daughter. Nonetheless, it's like he is playing the perfect character for everything that you hate, and you think that you figured it out and now the work is done. It's the Jews, never mind the Vatican and the influence and what the Pope is and all the shit that they have beneath Vatican City and they're hiding and all this crap. It has nothing to do with it at all. But we figured it out. It's the Jews. That's a hilarious. I've been wrong so much for all the time that I've been doing this. You want to talk about drinking? The audience can have another drink. I've been a conspiracy theorist since I'm 16 years old. You know how often I've been wrong? You know how often I thought I was right and then ended up being wrong? I'm very comfortable with that now. You guys, a lot of you guys, especially the noticing community, you people just woke up. And I'm talking to like 90% of you people. You just woke up in 2020. You think you sprinted for 5 years and got to the finish line and figured it all out? Like, no. You need to be wrong a lot more. There's a lot more things that you need to be wrong about to get even remotely close to the truth. We were talking about it before the show started. The more that I learn, the more that I realize I didn't understand. And the more that I realize I don't understand and that there's still so much more to go. And I've been doing this for so long. I'm wrong as hell. So are you. These people are on the world stage right now in the most obvious way. In the most obvious way. And you think it was going to be that easy? You were going to get a layup? They were just going to serve you up the Jews on a platter and you were going to say, oops, there we go.
Johnny, how does this work though? Because this is, I understand what you're saying and I agree where you're coming from about the Jesuits and the Roman Catholics, but we have people like Emily, we have Dickie, other people like that in the chat that are Catholics and they're devout Catholic. They tell us to go to mass. I tell them no. It's not for me. But
they love us. It's from a good place, right? They're only saying things that they believe are good for us.
Yeah, no, these are good people. Where is the disconnect so if they're going to this church and so is John Brennan, how does somebody end up like John Brennan and somebody end up like your aunt that goes to mass or my autistic?
And the same question could be asked. It's like you're a Christian and you're going to Sunday worship and you love Jesus Christ, but then you have a Joel Osteen or a Kenneth Copeland or something.
But that's
like
still
that,
not
right?
even an equivalent, though. I mean, Joel Osteen.
Well, I know, but
versus...
it's a similar. It's a maybe a microcosm of it, but it's the same spirit.
I will tell you, and I have this discussion with my mother all the time. She's to this very day, and it deeply burdens me. I have a sense that she's born again, that she gave her life to Christ, but she is horribly handicapped. She is horribly handicapped. And I want to speak to good Catholics. I want to speak to good, right-minded, right-valued Catholics. A tree is known by its fruit, said Jesus Christ. A tree is known by its fruit. Your church does not represent you. And my mother keeps saying, not my Pope. And I keep saying, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's your Pope. I got it. You didn't go to the conclave. You didn't vote. You didn't want this guy. He's hard left. He's a Jesuit from the hard left. He got replaced by an American from the hard left. They don't represent. Guess what? They will never represent you. They will never represent you. They are about slavery and concern between Jews and the Roman Catholic Church, which is an organization and an institution that has eons of experience of enslavement, of control. Which institution owns people based much more on guilt and sin? You could say a little bit about Jews. Do the Jews have confessionals? Do the Jews hear the sins and the crimes of their puppets? Good people. So you need to read, good Catholics, carefully read Revelation 18. Jesus Christ is talking to you. Come out of her, my people, lest you share in her judgments. And her judgments are going to be severe. She's given twice of what she's done. Every tortured child, every war, every horror is going to happen to her twice over. Jesus is talking directly to you. Do you honestly believe? Just look at systemic pedophilia. Look at the mass of children by Catholic clergy, institutionalized by the Catholic Church, where they all cover it up, where you have a priest that rapes children for decades, and then Catholics, because they're zombies, they're trapped by religion. Your little girl, your little boy says, Father O'Malley has been touching me. Father O'Malley violated me. And what do? You smack him. Don't you dare say that about our priest. Don't you dare. If you believe them, rarely, if you believe them, do you go to the cops? And guess what? The cops are on their payroll. They're not going to do anything. If you go to the prosecutor, same thing, social services. But you don't even do that, do you? You go to the bishop. You go to your own church hierarchy. Oh, eminent Father. Father O'Malley may have my little boy. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your mind? They'd be putting me in jail because of what I do to Father O'Malley, okay? But you don't do that. You go to your hierarchy. And what does the bishop say? Oh, my son, my daughter, I'll take care of this. You'll never see Father O'Malley again. And he picks him up and he sends him to a Roman Catholic vacation home for 2 weeks that you paid for. And they put him in a brand new diocese where no one has an idea. And he starts all over again. And this is not a one-time thing. This is a rule. This is a system.
There was an example of that a couple of years ago where it came out that I think the Pope himself personally relocated a predatory, father or whatever you would call him, and he ends up in a blind children's home. It was it was blind children, and he just ends up doing the whole thing all over again. So he puts them in a place where the children are more easily preyed upon. So yeah, I mean, within the Jehovah's Witnesses, there's a very similar system where like they're adamant in not going outside of the church to deal with this sort of internal struggle, even if it is sexual assault or something of that nature. They deal with it internally.
Jehovah's Witnesses, Catholic Church. Okay.
Yeah.
Jehovah's Catholic Church. Let me tell you something. Demons. You're a demon. These. Imagine, it's my stomach and knots. Imagine a handicapped orphan, an orphan that can't see, an orphan that can't hear. All they need is security and love and to feel safe. And instead, they have a priest or a nun sneaking into the room at 1 a.m. and them. Demonic.
Yeah.
Okay. What does it take to, and I've said this many times, there's a special place in hell for people that revel in causing pain to the vulnerable and the defenseless. And that's institutionalized Catholic. Please, Catholics, how can you not see this? How can you not see this? Okay? Look at it. Your institution, your church is an impediment to you. Do you honestly believe that 500 years ago, okay, 500 years ago, all of the most passionate Christians were all saying the same thing? Luther, Calvin, Knox, Zwingli, Cranmer, John Wycliffe before him, Jan Hus, Jerome of Prague, they're all saying the same thing. Rome is the whore of Babylon. All popes are Antichrist. They are. When Luther went to Rome for the first time, there were brothels just for priests. Look at the lives. Oh, you want to do it? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do an early life search. Let's do a life search on the popes. Okay. How about Rodrigo de Borgia? Okay. The Spanish Pope, Alexander VI, the guy that had children that he turned around and had sex with. Oh, Lucrezia Borgia. She was the mass poisoner. No, she was a victim. Her father, the Pope, was having sex with her. Her brothers, the cardinals, Cesare, his brother Juan, in a fit of jealous rage over who was having more sex with their sister. I'm not making this up. Oh, the Catholic Church. How could Catholic Church? Look it up. Cesare was a cardinal and a general, and his own brother, and threw him in the Tiber, threw him in a Roman river because he was having more with their sister Lucrezia than he was.
Wasn't the recent Pope Benedict, he was a youth? He was
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Ratzinger. Ratzinger was Nazi youth. And of course, JP2 was involved. Good old Bill Cooper has this, and he was a poison gas salesman. Okay. Even Adolf Hitler, based balance. Adolf Hitler was a puppet. Any kind of banking reforms that he did, anything he said, it was being fed to him. Did you know that his crescendo, My Struggle, Mein Kampf, wasn't written by him, it was written by a Jesuit, Bernard Stamfel. It was written by a Jesuit, Bernard Stamfel. Okay. I've got sources on Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, a collared Jesuit. Joseph Stalin, both a Freemason and a collared Jesuit. And I've got multiple sources on that because people are, what's his name? Emil Ludwig was a biographer who quoted Stalin on having gone to the Orthodox Tiflis seminary that was secretly controlled by the Jesuits. Oh, Ludwig doesn't count. Okay, don't worry. I've got another source too that corroborates that. A guy by the name of Frank O'Collins, a Jesuit himself, who says Joseph Stalin was a collared Jesuit, one of the most horrible mass murderers in human history. Okay. It's absolutely intuitive. I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, David, and you too, Top. It's absolutely intuitive that the machine is going to froth up. They want you to attack. We want us to attack each other. They want us to attack each other. They want us to go after the targets that are expendable. Just look at how is Jeffrey Epstein a household name? There's been no pedophilia. There's been no trafficking of children before Jeffrey Epstein. You've never heard of Mark Dutroux. You've never heard of the Franklin cover-up. Why is it the Franklin cover-up? Because a Roman Catholic CIA monk called it that as a distraction. Where did the boys come from in the Franklin scandal? Boys Town, the Roman Catholic orphanage. A bunch of boys, all they needed was love and care. And instead, they were being kidnapped and sent to Washington, D.C. and being blackmailed by the CIA. Oh, well, that's household too. Like Jeffrey. No, nobody else is trafficking kids before Jeffrey Epstein. Okay. How are you not here? Because it's being fed to you. And he's still Epstein. Are you kidding me? How do you?
Yeah. I mean, we talk about him on this show, but it's glaringly obvious to me that there's this one guy that's continually rolled out to the public, and they roll him out. It becomes a public dialogue. They pull him back in. I suppose it serves as a distraction technique or this and that. But when it reaches, first off, the reason that Epstein even became as much of a meme as he did is because of whatever the hell psychological operation QAnon is. Right?
Well, it's Donald Trump. Look at how that's played so beautifully. So we go from Donald Trump bringing up Epstein, and this is the reason why we get the fervor around him, all the way. Let's fast forward to Donald Trump giving those conservatives the fake Epstein files. They come out, they show it off. This story's dead as far as I'm concerned, because we're just moving through the news cycle. But now it's back. Then we get Diddy that kind of flares up this Epstein thing again. And just recently, you get Elon Musk saying that Trump is on the Epstein files. And I tweeted yesterday, it's going pretty viral, like 8,000 likes or something. But I said, I'm reading Trump's tweets or his truths, whatever you want to call them. And he's like, we got to stop Iran from having nuclear bombs. They cannot have it. This is America first. And I said, sounds like you're on that list. It sounds like you're on that list. But why are you the guy that presented us the idea of Epstein? And it's come full circle now, all the way for you to justify Israel's bombing of Iran or whatever's happening here. But because it's all connected.
It looks to me like it's all theater. And there are these couple of players and these couple of themes that you're supposed to look at. And the reason I think that is because they've done an excellent job of obfuscating the that you're not supposed to look at. And like I said, I don't think that people are suddenly more critical thinking than they were before. When I was a kid and I was looking at crazy, and like I said, so much of that was wrong. I ended up being wrong. But as you're trying to like shout it to your friends and family, they're all going through the drudgery, the monotony of everyday life. They can't be bothered with this crap. Most people don't want to see it. And I learned very early on that this type of information is not for the vast majority of people. So now when I look at the dialogue on Twitter and I see the vast majority of people are aware of a thing where they otherwise would never have been aware of it, I go, something's wrong here. I mean, I look at it and I engage with it, but it's theater, in my opinion. There's puppets and pieces that you're supposed to look at that are on the stage, and you're not supposed to see what's behind the curtain. And so everybody, like I said, thinks that there's some expert this or that, even myself included. I sit here on this show and I talk about these things, but I'm well aware that I am missing huge components of it, and that the things that everybody is comfortable talking about, they are only the pieces that are on the stage that we're meant to see.
Absolutely, man. And it's so intuitive. Think from their perspective. They're in control. They run the show. They own all the money. They own all the tech. They own all the governments. What do they want to do? They want to make themselves invisible, and they want to get you focused on the wrong thing. They want to get you distracted. They want to give you targets. They want to give you puppets. They want to give you expendable. How is Donald Trump get off from not even being connected to Epstein himself? They were buddies. He was constantly going to Island. And it's not just him. So there's nobody above Jeffrey Epstein. There's nobody below Jeffrey Epstein. Does that make any sense? Does it make sense that the CIA that knows everything and everywhere, that has made it a regular routine to blackmail people based on kids? And that's not me saying that. That's everybody from Max Lowen to Kathy O'Brien to Sue Ford again and again. And this is what they do. And before them, the Jesuits knew this. The Jesuits have it down literally as a science. Nobody, okay, Jews versus Jesuits. Who has centuries of experience of torturing human beings, standing over them like a dispassionate demon and taking notes? Jews or literally the Jesuits and the Inquisition? Literally the Jesuits. Okay, I keep telling people about in relation to my deployment how much it burdens me. What that a year of my life wasted. And I keep pointing to Princess Bride, which is a very, very fun Jesuitical movie. Okay. My name is Inigo Loyola. I mean, Inigo Montoya. Okay. The Swashbuckler. Okay. It was absolutely a very, very Jesuitical movie, but very fun, very entertaining. And when the six-fingered man tortures poor Wesley and he pulls the crack and the thing goes, and I just took a year off of your life. How does it make you feel? And all I can do is cry. I get choked up when I even talk about it or think about it. I just took a year off of your life. How does it make you feel? Your pets are 7 years older. How does that make you feel? Your wife is a year older. How does that make you feel? That is absolutely a deployment. And a way, oh, that's very interesting. That is a Jesuit. That's a Jesuit. Okay. That's what they did for centuries. Okay. These are the experts in this. So they know how to control people. They know how to control people with guilt, with the confessional. Jesuits, the Catholic Church controls guilt and sin through the confession, through a network of intelligence. Who controls, who runs hospitals and orphanages and hospitals, orphanages, and schools. Oh my goodness. Look, okay, let's do a deep dive into somebody's past. Let's you pick some of these Jews and find how many of them are Jesuit trained. What really matters, the Jew in the spotlight or the Jesuit behind them that trained them? Like the guy that's running Pennsylvania right now, the Josh Shapiro, that was the attorney general that did an investigation. He did a roundtable. He wrote a report on Catholic priests, kids. And you know who got arrested? Nobody. Illuminati Zero, a handful of people, right? He was the top cop, just like Andrew Cuomo, son of Cuomo, brother of Fredo. The Catholics, right? Who trained Josh Shapiro in how to be an ambulance chasing lawyer? The Jesuits at Georgetown. Okay. I've actually got a whole list, and I can pull it up if you want, of Jews trained by Jesuits.
That is crazy. These Ivy League schools, it's crazy to say it, right? But the Ivy League schools that produce these lawyers, they're all Jesuit run.
Yeah.
They're all like,
Yes.
Wow, that's kind of crazy to even think about, because nobody even goes right. They all come from these universities, and it's like, well, who the fuck is in the universities?
Look at Epstein. Just look at Epstein. Okay, so who was Donald Trump's attorney general? Right, Bill Barr. Bill Barr, a very devout Roman Catholic. Bill Barr's dad was Donald Barr, a converted Roman Catholic who worked for Bill Donovan and the OSS. Oh, he's a crypto. He's a converted from Judaism. Okay. Do you think, first of all, any of these crypto Jews, do you think the Catholic Church is so oblivious that someone can convert and be fake and be working for the Jews? Why do we never have these big blowups from the Catholic counterinsurgency? How is it that the Catholics never uncover any crypto Jews? How is it the Vatican never uncovers any crypto Jews? Because they aren't any. Okay. That's all a big myth. Okay. Donald Barr worked for Bill Donovan at the OSS. And if there's anybody that's going to make you go through a full screening, if there's anybody that's not going to be fooled by you being a secret, let me fake, what do they call that? A Marano. A Marano is that pretends to convert to Catholicism. Do you think that the CIA and the Vatican would have a system to weed out fake converts? I would think they do. Okay. Donald Barr worked for Bill Donovan at the OSS. He got out of the OSS and he became a school headmaster. Where did he become a school headmaster? At Dalton. The last thing that he did at Dalton was he hired a complete college washout, a guy that washed out of college twice, never received a degree. He hired this guy, brought him onto Dalton, and said, "You're our new math teacher, and I got to go." I can't even say, "Hey, where are you going?" Donald Barr, you know who he hired? You know who that hire was? Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. And then Donald Barr's son, little Billy Barr, by this time a very devout Roman Catholic, is Donald Trump's top cop. And then you have the huge Epstein scandal, and he's arrested a second time. And oh, by the way, do you think that the CIA would allow a child trafficking blackmail scandal to go off on the side and not have a piece of it, or not own it, or not control it in any way? Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein was operating? Why is that never even in the equation? Do you think that that's it? Of course it was. Of course it was. Okay. And people are saying, oh, you got guys like, what's his name? The Catholic comedian. I don't know why I'm freezing his name. and saying it's Mossad. That Epstein was the Mossad. Dude, do you think that the CIA would allow Epstein to work for the Mossad and not at least have a piece of that, and not at least being controlling from that? Okay. Absolutely. But no, nothing to see here. No, the only one that was really using, girls, Prince, not Albert, Prince, what's his name? Andrew. Andrew. He's the only one. He's in Prince Andrew. Oh, look, Prince Andrew killed one of them. They had him hit by bus. What? Why are we seeing this? Please, why are you not examining this? Okay. So Bill Barr is Donald Trump's attorney general when Jeffrey Epstein killed himself twice. Right? He's on suicide watch in a federal facility. He tries to commit suicide and fails, and tries to commit. Can I tell you from a military perspective how absolutely bullshit ridiculous that is? Can I tell you how bullshit? So your job is to keep this guy. He is the Osama bin Laden of child trafficking. The Osama bin Laden of child trafficking. Okay, you don't want to shoot him on sight and dump him in the ocean the way the brave Navy SEAL Team 6 did. Okay. All right.
To honor his heritage, right? That's
right. Are you kidding me? Meanwhile, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, we're going to waterboard him 800 times, like every scrap of information.
We're going to hang Saddam Hussein on national television.
You mean his body double?
Yeah, there you go. We're hanging somebody on
TV. Right. So shoot him on sight domination. No. Your job was to keep this source of intelligence alive, and you failed multiple times. And who got fired as a result of Jeffrey Epstein's suicide? Nobody. One person. I think there was a guy that was running the Department of Corrections, and he got fired by Donald Barr. And who got replaced? He got replaced with a Roman Catholic female, Kathleen Hawk Sawyer. Look her up. Kathleen Hawk Sawyer. The only thing to come out of the Epstein scandal, of Epstein's suicide. People should have been fired. There should have been people on charges for negligence. There should have been people on charges. And the cameras just happen to go out. Are you kidding me?
I don't know if you heard, Johnny, but now we're going to get, they have some footage and it definitively shows that nobody entered or left Epstein's thing. And it's like, real convenient. We're in the age of AI where the only thing they can't get right is like faces and like that. But if you're just showing us a video
of an empty hallway,
then I happen to think that AI would do a bang up job of generating that kind of a video. But listen, Johnny, unfortunately I have an appointment, and I pushed it back a little bit, but I still got to
go. We'll hit this again later, brother. I love you guys. Right. I love you guys. I
love you, Johnny. Anytime. This is a fantastic conversation. I think it's an important one. It's going to piss a lot of people off. Everybody who's got an erection for the Jews right now, and everybody who is Catholic themselves, but it does. It should strike you as significant, listener, that maybe the truth would piss you off a little bit. Maybe it would be received the wrong way. Maybe it would be a little abrasive. Maybe it would be something that would cause reaction in you. And if you have that sort of a thing, I do have bottom surgery to get to. If you have that sort of a reaction, you need to realize that you're having an emotional reaction. Emotion has no place in all of this.
Amen.
Take a breather and just listen to the information. There's a whole podcast here, an hour and 50 minutes of information. You can go back, you can look at these things yourself and see if they make sense to you. Emotion has no place when it comes to the truth. And if you're feeling that right now, maybe you need to be doing a little bit of sort of internal searching. Why do I have this reaction? Why?
If you were suddenly a judge right now, if you were suddenly a judge and you could adjudicate the criminals, would it be good for you to go off of emotion? Could you be making horrible mistakes by going off emotion? No. Think dispassionately. Think dispassionately.
Almost always in all things. If you're reacting off of emotion, you need to be taking a break and a breather, and you need to be assessing the situation and then reapproaching it when that emotion passes, because long after the emotion passes, the information remains, and that's what's important. So, Johnny, one more time for the audience, thank you for being on here. Where can they find your work?
Love you guys. JohnnySirucci.com, JohnnyCirucci.com. You can reach me at Johnny@JohnnySirucci.com. You can get all 5 of my books on Amazon: Illuminati Unmasked, Secret History, Eaters of Children, Romans of Mass Destruction, and Disciples of Ra on the Pandemic. You can find me on Odyssey, Rumble, BitChute, and Brighteon and UgTube under either Johnny Sirucci or Resistance Rising. And right now that's what I'm doing the most of. I've got a Twitter, I've got a mega fake book. Just look for me, Johnny Sirucci. I pay for the little stupid ass blue check. And those are the main areas, guys.
Definitely give him a follow. Johnny, thank you again. These are my favorite episodes. You know why? because I don't like the people that watch the show, and I know that if it makes them uncomfortable, good. It makes me happy.
Right.
But
Guys,
that's the truth of it, right? This information makes you uncomfortable, then it's probably important. Take us away, Top.
Amen.
that's right.
Amen.
And while we do this, while you're uncomfortable, while you're squirming in your seats, Emily, and all the rest of you, obey, submit, and comply.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real.
You can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see.